What is up? What is up?
What's up, Cody? Welcome in, everybody, as we go live for another session of simply investing with state of the market. Kind of going to do something different for Wednesdays instead, because there's a lot of other people that cover the scammers. We're not going to really cover them, but do be aware they are ramping up, and there's a lot that are coming out with new tactics, new everything. So just be careful, guys. Be careful what's out there. But as we get in here, as you guys funnel in here, we got a few people on Twitch too, so that's pretty good actually. Usually got
Oh
one
yeah.
on there. So, but we are live on every platform except Instagram and TikTok. Unfortunately, we have to restart our accounts on those. So,
No, we had a lot from TikTok.
oh yeah, we had like over 1,000 every time we went live. So bear with us. We're gonna build back. Hopefully, build back better. But definitely, guys, like and subscribe. Help follow. Hit the follow button. All that support means the world to us as we continue to grow this channel. And we're currently at like 246 subscribers. So if you guys could just push us up there a little bit, trying to get to 500. And shout out to Crypto Dream, one of our great supporters and followers. He probably will come in a little later. Great family man. He also has his channel, so follow him, subscribe, and on YouTube and follow him on TikTok as well as give Cody a follow too on TikTok, CodyHarris.eth. But with that said, guys, gonna go right into the market. Got quite a bit of news to cover. A lot of changes that have happened. Right now, we're sitting at 1.77 trillion, up 3% on the day. Trading volume at 112 billion, up 32%. We have Bitcoin dominance back down to 51.6%, and Ethereum at 17.6. While we also have a greed and fear index at 74. So we got Ethereum coming close to 2,600. We got Bitcoin teasing the 47, 48K range again. Ethereum's up 9%. We got Solana back over 100. We got XR
Chainlink.
up. We got Chainlink up about 8% on the day. We got Litecoin up 5%. Atom up 5.5%. We have Hedera up 7.5% on the day, and of course we got Quant, which is up 7.5%. I think it was at a high of almost 130 today, so it's definitely spiking. A lot of good news out there on various various sites. There, you got
Quant got a U.S. patent from the U.S. Patent Office, which is also good.
yes, that patent finally cleared through uh, for Quant, so it's definitely something good. Shout out to DYOFR. Yeah, I guess good morning where you are. It's evening where I am, but welcome in, brother. Glad to have you in here. I hope you can like and share
I'm
the stream. So
I'm still deciding on what I should buy heavily, Chainlink or Avalanche, because I'm torn between. But I still haven't made a decision.
yeah, I would go with Chainlink. Not really wanting. I get the sentiment about going with Avalanche, but I'm feeling Chainlink up. Chainlink is still quite a bit of my portfolio, but I want to add more to it. If you guys haven't been paying attention or subscribed on our Patreon, you didn't get the buy alerts, but I did add in quite a bit of Arboretum. I do apologize if I get that right, or
Arbitrum.
Arbitum, and I did add some more Quant, some more Dot, a few more in a little bit of areas in my crypto portfolio, bringing me to a whopping amount of money in there, as well as my stock portfolio. As you guys know, this is January. I got all my dividends from my companies, and I got those invested into where I want to go with money on the side. Right now, I'm sitting with quite a bit of money, and I'm probably not going to buy any real estate coming over this coming year. I am probably not going to put a lot in here, but I got quite a bit of cash on hand. Might be time for me to finally uh, get a house I've been eyeing and talking to a realtor about, and I got a pretty good realtor that's finding me a nice home with modern things. So you might see me stream from my house new house at some point. Depends. I don't know if I'm going to end up staying in Northwest Arkansas for long because Dallas is kind of pulling me down there as I'm setting up a new warehouse down there for my business and logistics company
Oh,
or my
awesome.
moving and logistics company. So we'll have to see because it's getting busy. That's why you guys haven't seen the live so much because I've been busy like crazy.
Been making that money.
Yeah, it's like it's just been flooding in, ups and downs. Right now, we're trying to find drivers to handle the outflow of people that are coming in and everything. So, as you can see, I'm pretty tired. Like tomorrow, I'm headed down to Florida to kind of head out. So, but with that said, guys, that's just kind of how my businesses are going right now. I put quite a bit of money into my crypto portfolio, so it's 14% of my net worth right now. As you guys say, I don't try to get it more than 15%, and my stocks are 13% as well. Although I'm going to start putting into more stocks, and my reserve funds are about 13% of my wealth as well. So I got quite a bit of assets here, and hopefully you guys can catch up to me and just steady growth. A lot of that was just 20 years, especially stocks, 20 years dollar cost averaging in over the years. But let's take a look at I want to take a quick look at not this. Oh, here we go, market watch. Uh Share this tab because we got the Dow up about 0.5%. We have Nasdaq up 3/4, and we got the S&P up really 0.5% as well. We are still kind of climbing on the Dow. If we take a look here, let's just go to the last 3 years. As you see here, even with pandemic numbers, the valuations are still topping out. So I'm getting a little leery now because I think we're kind of like where the candle's burning brightest before everything goes out. We still have a lot of black swan events that could happen, such as the collapse of the auto loaning industry and auto market, the collapse of the banking, collapse of the mortgage. I mean, there's already cracks starting to appear in the housing market, as well as the transportation industry is suffering some changes as well and losing quite a bit of drivers as they age out and no one's really replacing them. So just beware that this might be a year. This might be a rough year, Although it's on paper, it's looking like, and everybody feels like we're not in a recession. We're not in a recession, but to me, it's like, man, it sure feels like we're headed into one, and everyone's talking exactly the same way they talked in 2007, right before the crash. So I'm not buying a lot of real estate. I'm good on my cash flow. If I have to, if the bank calls my mortgages, they're about 45% of my total assets. So I can sell, pay them off, and still have half of my real estate portfolio left. So I'm not too worried. Worst case scenario, I'm still going to be in business, making money. I got healthy reserves for my business, and we're still putting into it as the logistics side keeps growing. Shout out to Crypto Dream. Welcome in. Glad to have you in here, buddy. One of our great supporters. Give him a shout out and a subscribe too. And as you guys come in, just give us a share. Really appreciate it. But back over to the crypto world. I mean, there's a lot of changes going on. One big thing is about Quant's the patent they applied for the Overledger. Cody, you did more research on that. Kind of
Yeah, it was all the way back in November of 2018, and it just got accepted. So that's good news for Quant. I hold a big bag of it. I'm very close to 100 Quant, and that's my goal. I want to get 100, and then I'm just gonna buy probably Chainlink for the rest of this year and try to get a good bag of that. So I have Chainlink and Quant as my ERC20s.
Yeah, and I like the fact that the Overledger was patented, so makes me feel a little better about investing in Quant. I myself am going to probably put more and more into Quant as we go. I've already put another 20K in there. I'll probably end up putting another 100K if I see if especially if I start seeing drops again on there. But overall, I'm still holding Quant. We're still long term on Quant. I don't see it really going anywhere. So you guys don't have to worry I don't think the price is going to drop any more than maybe 90. Cody says 85, but I still think
85 would be the lowest.
I think that'd be like worst case. I think 90 to 95 is going to be the range that you're going to see, and you're not going to
It's
see.
just held up so well.
Oh yeah, it's been
It's held up so well in the bear market.
absolutely. It's been maintaining. Also, guys, I do watch a lot of this guy called JT Pocket Watcher. If you guys go shout out to his channel and watch it. He also has one coming up on a crypto scammer. I think this Friday, so definitely you guys want to watch that because he goes over all the signs and everything. So just be careful, guys, because there's a lot of scammers coming, a lot coming. And unfortunately, I see a lot of even my workers like putting money into some of those scams. So just be careful out there because they are there and they got a lot of malicious intent there.
Oh yeah, and it goes hand tied. It kind of goes hand in hand with the fact that you talked about we're in a recession. I agree. I agree. I just see it every day with how people's thinking attitudes are and stuff, and what they're focused on. Like we're in a recession.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I do want to say though that it's if the best case scenario we just have a slow decline, which is salvageable. No one's going to get wrecked in a slow downward decline. You'll just have some businesses go out of business and restructuring of the business world. But if we have a rapid decline or a crash in one of the markets, it's we're going to see record lows again. We're going to see a lot of record lows, and that's where I want to. That's where I want to kind of really dollar cost average the most. Because if we see that, that'd be like 2022 numbers again, and we haven't seen 2022 numbers in like the markets ever. Like I was buying stocks for a lot cheaper than they are today. I mean, Porch Moving Group was 55 cents at the time, and I was buying it up. We also have, I mean, the crypto market. I remember like Dot was like $4 and we were buying it up, and Quant was at $55 that year, and we were buying it up. There's a lot going on. XRP was in the 20s and 30 cent range, so we might see those prices again if all the black swan events hit and we really have a crash in the economy. However, if we have a crash, let me tell you, the rest of the world is going to be crumbling because we already got fake numbers coming out of China, and people are now realizing that a lot of their numbers that they're reporting on their economy was all fake. So their economy is about to crash, and that's kind of like another black swan event. I'm going to do a video for the Patreon folks on China and how that could affect investing right now, but I'll give you guys a snippet that it's not looking good. A lot of it's fake, propped up, artificially inflated numbers, and they're not telling. But an investigative journalist, kind of leaked to the world that China's average age in their population is like 53.4 years old. So that means there's nowhere near enough young people to replace the aging out population. Their economy and everything's going to collapse instantly. We might even see a new government from that too in China. 'Cause I don't think the regime that's in place is going to make it through that. It would be very, 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 very tough. I didn't see that. Hit the wrong button. But I still crypto is like if we hit a 25%, you guys know that I'm all in on that stuff. I'm going to be just
Oh
into
yeah,
it.
it'd be a good buying opportunity. I'm not. I don't see any point in selling in 2024. In my opinion, it's like if you're banking on the next year, why sell in 2024?
Yes, only
I'm just
sell if
straight stacking.
exactly. My core investments I'm stacking, but stuff like Solana, I may dump Solana. Like anything that's kind of like I made money, but is like an offhanded bet that I'm making, I'll probably drop. All my stocks I'm keeping. I'm not selling a single stock. Actually, I added to Apple and Microsoft today. So those alone are huge portions of my portfolio. Even though I'm trying to bring up the others, it's just going to take time because I've had those stocks for the last 15 years. So and through all the 7-1 splits and all that stuff. But anyway, it's they're a pretty big size of my portfolio. I'm not dropping anything out of my stocks. I did invest more into Ripple. They had a Ripple on Link2 had an announcement that they're selling more shares for private equity investing. So I dumped into there for a little bit. But other than that, there's really nothing really to invest in for me right now. I would just recommend dollar cost averaging in. That's my recommendation as a licensed stock trader. Like in this scenario, just be dollar cost average into the projects I believe in and the ones that make sense to me in the long term. And I'm not going to try and give up any positions unless if I just absolutely see no way I'm going to make a return or make my money on it. But as of right now, I am pretty plus on the market on my investments there. So it's definitely something I'm keeping in mind. But there will be some that might sell off, like Cass, Soul, and probably Litecoin. I might dump Litecoin if I don't see a value in it anymore. And now that'd probably be my only loss is Litecoin.
Yeah, I'm kind of holding my polka dot bag, and I'm getting up to 100 quant. Once I hit 100 quant, I'm just gonna DCA into Chainlink for the rest of the year. And yeah, it's like I know quant's gonna hit $1,000. I know it's gonna surpass its all-time high, but at the same time, it's hard for me to go all in on quant without wanting to
Mm-hmm.
have some Chainlink or.
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely. And I do want to talk a bit too about this. You guys got to be aware about this. Is that the to have a healthy market, both whether it's crypto, stocks, real estate, just a healthy overall economy, we need unemployment around 6 to 8%, somewhere in that range. And right now we're at 3.9%. I know the new numbers are going to be coming out soon, as well as the inflation numbers, but it's not looking good because they keep reporting low unemployment numbers, but I'm seeing more and more layoffs. More and more layoffs. Like Walmart quietly laid off 100,000 people. We have a lot of tech companies laying off between 15, 20, 30, 40, or sometimes up to 30% of their staff. A few of them, like Nvidia, I think they should do a 50% layoff. They just have to to bring back to where I think they should be healthy to be in a healthy economy for them. But we also have like the automakers are going to be in a tough spot. Dealerships, the big dealerships are going to be in a tough spot because they over a lot of people don't know those dealerships overpaid for those cars. And there's a lot of car YouTubers out there explaining the situation. They could explain it better than I can. But I can tell you from a banking side, those guys, everyone's just holding on right now. So they're just getting together enough to make the payments, and then we're going to see one wild crash. Now, this big crash for me is usually good because I have a moving and logistics company, so the moving industry is going to boom for 2 years because you got to be moving people, and people are going to get evicted. We're going to have to move people out and fast. The logistics people will just leave their stuff behind, buy new cheaper furniture. Let me tell you, places like American Freight, they're doing like cheap, like $1.99 seven piece dining set. So that's a table and 6 chairs. And we have like I think they're one of my newest vendors for my logistics side, and their average sales like $1,000. And for $1,000, you can get a dining room table, a bed, and a mattress, and a sofa. So you can get all the main pieces of furniture necessary for your house. So you can get a sofa, and that sofa can recline because they have a reclining sofa for like $399. Then they have a mattress and box spring set with metal frame for $299. Then $199 for the table and dining set. So it's crazy. Shout out to Crypto Dream. What are you saying could crash? The auto industry leading because we got a lot of negative equity that can't be refinanced, and people are starting to give back those cars. The Challengers, Chargers, Mustangs, the Infinities. The Infinities are getting hit hard. I didn't realize so many 10 to 30-year-olds loved Infinities. I mean, I like the new ones. I like the look of them, but I'm not going to go spend 60 grand for it. I'll go spend 60 grand for a C-class Mercedes. Then I would go get an Infinity, but they do look nice. However, they're hitting the market. They're hitting the the auction sites. I recently went into an auction because I'm looking for another utility pickup truck for my business for guys to go do labor helps and stuff. Um, it's looking so Paul's on buying Ford stock. Oh, absolutely, Crypto Dream. I'm not buying any stocks other than the ones I have. I'm not buying any car companies. However, I might be putting a short on Ford and GM because I see them with the change in the auto industry, the strikes, the increased labor, and the lack of demand. They're going to have a nice crash. Now, they're still going to be around. I think Ford has better visually appealing cars than GM does. Like the new Mustang isn't bad,
I don't
but
like
it's
Fords.
it's not great, but it's not bad. And I think they're going to be a wild setup there. But the auto industry is looking like it's going to crash around April, Mayish because people got maybe 3 or 4 more months of trying to make those payments before they just give up on the car. So you got to remember, most people try to maintain the lifestyle or what they're doing for as long as humanly possible until the bitter end, and then they give it up. So the cars, like a lot of young people, they're giving up their cars instantly, but it's the 30 to 40 range that's still holding on. So like those F-150s that were overpriced, like they bought like $10,000-15,000 above MSRP, the Ford Lightning, the lack of demand for EVs, it's coming. It's like every crack has formed itself. So now we're just waiting for one of those to expand, because if one of those cracks gets bigger, such as either the loans or the lot loans can't be paid, they're going to break, because right now the prices are starting to go down, but the dealerships lot loans are staying the same. So they're having to pay more money every week to keep their lots full. And with a lack of buyers, it's going to head for a bad time. And I could tell you, it's not going to be the big banks that hurt from this, but it's going to be like your local banks that have lent out too much money, that did not do the proper oversight, and they're going to go bust. And that's going to cause a huge problem with regional banking. And unfortunately, it's also going to cause us, because the FDIC is going to have to pay out for everyone, all the consumers that have money with those banks and credit unions, and then it's going to cause another ramp up of inflation because we put more money into the system. Shout out to DYOFR. The Ford Mustang EV has a recall due to high voltage cables catching fire. Ford is trashed since they started being made in Mexico. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. They closed all the plants in Michigan and Ohio, and they went right to making it in Mexico. And I could tell you right now, they cut corners down there. And it's not the same, but I seen like one of my buddies in my networking group is building a house, and he made them redo the concrete because the general contractor was using hired Mexican crew, and they went with the cheapest concrete they could while saying they were going to put in the actual concrete that he wanted. And it was just a disaster. So I can only imagine what the cars are like coming out. They need better quality control, but EVs catching fire, yeah, that could be a thing, because during the summer we can't transport lithium ion batteries. I refuse to do it because in the box truck it's getting so hot, those batteries overheat and explode. And with EVs, the hotter the temperature gets globally, the worse it's going to be for an EV. The best thing people can do is only drive when you need it. Buy the Toyota, don't buy the Dodge Charger. Because right now, if you buy a Toyota, you'll be saving on gas. Like we have a Nissan Versa and a Toyota Camry as service vehicles. And Toyota Camry gets roughly about 32 miles per gallon. It's used, and we fill it up like once every 2 weeks, and we drive that sucker. So just it's just one of those things. Like it's just one of those things that I don't think they fixed that part. BMW had the same thing like 8-9 years ago with the i8 and the i3 or something, where they were catching fire because of the batteries. So I don't like the fact that if the vehicle stops, catches fire, you're locked in there. So if you panic, you're going to get stuck. You really have to know what you're doing in those things. So I'm still a big fan of gas propulsion, but I'm also a fan of, we don't need to use gas. The engines are fully capable of using ethanol, which is we can make out of the waste product that we make off of corn. We don't do anything with the corn stock other than either grind it up and put it back out in the field or give it to cows. We could use that to make biofuels. And that would solve the problem way better and just get more efficient and clean. Or we go with water powered cars. So it just breaks apart the water into hydrogen and oxygen and reforms it back into water for energy. And you just take the energy and the car will last a lot longer. If we do that, we won't have a problem. But that's going to hurt Ford. Let me pull up Ford on here because I could tell you guys where I expect to see this price. I think it was in the last 3 years. Oh, come on. God, my mouse is not working here. I think we hit like 15. Yeah, it hit over $25 and just crashed since. So I'm expecting it to be back here under $10, probably around the $7 range is where I expect Ford to be after everything's all said and done and the economy crashes and everything. Then I'm going to start buying up Ford once it hits there because I don't think it's going anywhere. It's too big of a company. They do make products that people do like. It's just that right now they're making products that people like and can't afford. So once people can afford those and they cycle through the situation in a car area, Ford will make it. But they do expect like another 30-40% drop in price on their stock. And then it'll be a good buy, probably go back to 20 once the economy really gets going again, and you'll make a considerable nice size profit on it. I would say probably once we get to a real good booming economy and people can afford their vehicles, I would say seeing a $25-30 price target would not be out in a decade from now. But I have to say, people like the EV, the Mustang EV. It's just that they're not willing to spend that $60,000 for it. But it's not a car I would recommend a lot of young people buy because like Fords need a lot of maintenance, and like once you hit 65,000, it's if you don't have good credit, then you're kind of stuck with that huge repair bill on those cars. Especially like I had a Ford F-250 for the business, and in a year after using it for a year, the amount I had to pay to fix it all up was like $15,000. Because I mean, it was a service vehicle. We put 60,000 miles in a year on it, as a business normally does, but it wasn't worth keeping it. So, and we just let the lease end and give it back. So I don't see, and I see the same thing with any of the models. The one good model that they had was the Ford GT, and they discontinued that for some odd reason. So I have no idea what they're doing, what they're planning on right now, though. But going back to crypto here, we got some news about Gary Gensler. I'm gonna try and see if I can pull up that news article. I think it was about Bitcoin. I think Gary Gensler might be finally on his way out, getting fired. Yep, because spot ETF has been approved and is ready to go to start trading tomorrow. So that's good. That might boost a boom for Bitcoin, and so it might get it over 50,000. Don't listen, guys. Don't listen to a lot of these degenerates. You're not going to see $100,000 Bitcoin in a couple weeks by the end of the month. That's just impossible. We're already halfway through. We got 2.5 weeks left, or really 1, 2, 3, well, 3 weeks. 3 weeks left in a month. We're not seeing 50. We're not seeing 100K Bitcoin this month, but we might see like 50, 55 before we start seeing a market correction again. But let me find the article about Gary Gensler here. Cody, what are some of your thoughts on the Bitcoin ETF? I don't know if he's still there. Oh, okay. I think he's just waiting for his background noise to go down.
I'm eating right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. Gary. Or because there's news, Gary Ginzer might be. Yep. Let's see here. So they went ahead and they approved the spot ETF to begin trading. There was some fake. There was a release. They said it was fake news, but they left it up there to. Oh, come on, buddy. I have this. Oh, I don't have sign this. Let me go over here. Here we go. Okay. I think this is it. Let me see it. Because he said he did not approve he did not approve or endorse Bitcoin, but he's in the hot seat for letting that fake tweet get out there and kind of stay on the market for or stay on Twitter for like 20 good minutes, and it caused an artificial pump yesterday. So, but it looks like the spot ETF is coming. I think Gary Ginzer might be this might be his final year in this as the chairman of the SEC. Um, I don't know. I think that there's just a lot of blunders going on. Usually, when someone says it's fake, me being in working on Wall Street usually means there's some truth to it. It's not approved yet, fully approved yet, but I think it will be approved. But I think someone approved the ETF. That'll start
I
tomorrow.
don't think Gensler was hacked. I think something was done on purpose.
Oh, 100%. I believe it too. Just trying to find yep, end of closing business day. SEC approved 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs on January 10th, including applications ARC, 21 shares, Investco, Galaxy, Van Eck, Wisdom Tree, Fidelity, Valkyrie, BlackRock, Grayscale, Bitwise, Hashtag, and Franklin Templeton. Bloomberg ETF and analyst Safe. Wow, that's interesting. Safeart. James Safeart uh, posted on X several S-1 prospectus are going effective, meaning that the spot ETF could begin trading soon. It's not entirely verified, but it is out there that it is coming. It is coming out there, and it's only a matter of time before this news really starts circulating through. But I'm still a little weary about it because there's still a lot of market manipulation going on. I do try to stay ahead of the curve with some of this stuff, or try to work with the curve, not try to fight against it. But like I said, we're still seeing some crazy stuff. The phone that we shout out to DYFR, the phone that was used to log into SEC GovX account was compromised. Yeah, that's what they were saying. But they left it up yesterday for a solid 20 minutes. So I don't know. I don't think so. I think they artificially pumped it. So, because it's really weird that we want to get those earnings in right now because people, you know, we're in like the middle of the week and then we're trying to push the markets up a little bit. But then the markets went and they rebounded anyway. So I mean, we're getting close to 1.8 trillion on total valuation. Even now, it's up over 4% on the day. So it looks like we're going to have a crazy night with the markets. And it wouldn't surprise me if we wake up and we see quant at like 150 and Ethereum at like 2,700. Shout out to Crypto Dream. Heard a guy says this won't get people into Bitcoin as much as people get into BlackRock. That's true. Um, for most people my age, 40 and up, most of them are not going to invest in crypto. They're going to invest in mostly um, the stocks and everything. And investing in BlackRock is a pretty good solution to that. They pay good dividends. The stock's not overvalued at all. It's pretty even. Probably could get some gains once the economy comes back, but you'll be making all the money you can off of their dividends. I mean, I still have I increased my BlackRock position in my portfolio, and BlackRock is about 2%. So I'm probably going to over this year get it up to about 5% of my portfolio. But who knows? Time tells that when the economy changes, things will change. Um, what I decide to invest in will change, but right now, just going cash. Not really investing anything. I'm not really buying anything. I'm just kind of just holding and just sitting and waiting because I have a feeling we're going to have a rough year. Or it's going to get rougher before it gets better. Just my gut feeling, not necessarily true, you guys. Do what's right, best for you. But as always, with whether it's stocks, crypto, or any other investment, as long as your dollar cost averaging in, being in the market is always better than timing the market. So I don't know. With that said, I'm getting a little tired, guys. I'm probably gonna be heading home early. I'm closing up the office. So it's been ridiculously busy. I also got a couple people out on maternity leave, so it's gonna be rough for our sales because there's only 3 of us instead of 5 of us. So it's gonna be rough. I tell you. Um, let's see here. I don't think there's really too much more to talk about. I mean, I just gotta be careful out there. That's all, really. Just be careful what you're looking at, what you're trading in, what you're doing. Um, I just don't see. I just don't see us hitting a bull run this year, though. I just don't see us hitting a bull run. Not something I'm necessarily looking to see that's going to come. I just have a feeling it's going to come in mid 2025. Just a hunch. Because I think the crypto is going to start breaking away from its usual trends. I know usually your past performance is a predictor of future behaviors, but right now I think everything's about ready to change on its head. So, but I don't know. Do you got any final thoughts, Cody, before we head out? I know that you're kind of in the middle of dinner with your family. I guess maybe you didn't hear me over there. But if anything I could say, guys, stay safe out there. Invest wisely. Do your due diligence. Don't moonshot your savings. And make sure you have a reserve for emergencies. And then only invest what you're willing to lose. Because the market's going to be pretty fearful, and you don't want to put everything in right now and then have the market take a 50% dump on you. We don't want that to happen. We want to, invest safely, invest wisely, invest cautiously to hope for a better outcome with your portfolios. But with that said, guys, I'm going to be headed out. It's been fun for about an hour with you guys. Shout out to Crypto Dream Bull Run. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. There's so much misinformation and all that. Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation, FUD in both stocks and crypto. A lot of people just sending out wild speculations, which are based off of just feelings. A lot of influencers will tell you that the bull run is going to happen in May. It's not. I just don't see it happening because we got so many possible black swan events that is going to crash the market. Shout out to DYOFR. Go short when the Fed makes a rate cut. Yeah, because that's going to spark. It's going to spark a good market for the short term, but give it about 6 to 7 months, we're going to see the harsh reality of that decision. And anything, I think they should raise rates up to 7-8%. Like we should just be skyrocketing in the rates. Wipe out all these zombie companies. Wipe out the debt. Force people to force consumerism to stop. That will solve a lot of our problems. And pulling, I'd say they have to pull about 20% of the money in circulation out for us to be able to have a good have a real solid start to the economy. Uh, do your own effing research. Absolutely, you got to do your own research, but you also got to listen to people, listen to the inflections in their voice, listen to how they're speaking, because a lot of influencers need the bull market to happen to make them right. A lot of um, traditional finance influencers need the bull market not to happen to make. A lot of people need certain things to happen. A lot of people have made big bets. I know a lot of crypto YouTubers have lost significant sums of money with the FTX debacle. So just be aware that that they have an ulterior motive to the information they're giving, and they want certain outcomes. And because we want an outcome doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. My thoughts is always prepare for the outcome I don't want. If I don't want something to happen, the odds are because I don't want it to happen that it's now more likely to happen. So I just dollar cost average in where it makes sense for me and what I understand and what I see value in. And right now, I see more value in my stock portfolios. I'm keeping the blue chip cryptos I have. I'm at about 2.8 million on the crypto portfolio. It's probably as high as I'm probably going to get it. Might get it up to 3 million by the summer, depending on what I want to invest in. If I want to keep dollar cost averaging in, but other than that, I'm just pouring money into my stocks. And then even the stocks, like I'm not buying any new ones. I'm not buying it, not selling any of what I have. I'm just keeping it. If anything, I'm putting more money with my financial advisors in the funds I have with them. Shout out to Crypto Dream. I heard the hack caused a lot of slowing in the momentum for the BTF Bitcoin BTC ETF. Yes, absolutely true. They keep stalling it out again because it's going to be good for the market overall, whether the economy is good or not. But it's the longer they hold it out, the cheaper they can keep Bitcoin down. They're trying to push Bitcoin down so they can get more money. I just feel like they're artificially they're trying to manipulate the market that way. Just my thoughts, though. But with that said, guys, thank you so much for joining in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, give us a shout out.
I just
We're gonna
got done
do the.
eating. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. Cody, you got any final thoughts before I head out? I know that you were
Um,
listening, but
I know there could be some potential black swan, but overall, I'm dollar cost averaging throughout the whole year. I just need my bag up regardless.
absolutely. Like I said, dollar cost averaging where it makes sense for you guys, but don't try to buy some moonshots, especially right now, because you're going to lose a lot of money. And make sure you guys are being smart with your money outside, like in your day-to-day life, because you don't want to be overspending. You want to be saving. Work. If you can get a second job, get a second job right now, because it's going to be a rough couple years. I have a feeling it's going to be rough. Businesses are going to be going out of business. Right now, they're cutting, and the next phase is the ones that really shouldn't be in business are going out of business. I know that some businesses around here, local businesses in Northwest Arkansas, are going out. Like Angus Jack, I think they're down to one store now, which is crazy. I think they're down to just a Springdale store, but they were good, but they were expensive. So it's kind of like those things, like where people are going to reevaluate. But then again, and like in Northwest Arkansas, I was driving around canvassing today for my business, and they are building like crazy. Like there's another Whole Foods coming in Rogers. You have like 16 to 17 new properties being built, about 20 new apartment complexes being built. It's just crazy. And rent here, like I went to my old place, which was when I moved here in 2013, was $650 for a 2-bedroom. It is now $1,299 for that same 2-bedroom. Granted, they did upgrade those. They look very nice. I won't lie. They look
So
very,
it's doubled since 2013.
yeah, it doubled. In 10 years, the price of rent doubled, while wages here, they've gotten a little better, but I mean, Arkansas's minimum wage is still $11 an hour. There's no way you can afford $1,300 a month plus utilities and then feeding yourself and getting to work on $11 an hour. And trust me, there's a lot of my competitors, they pay their guys $11 an hour. It's rough. And that's only that's less than $20,000 a year. But with that said, guys, though, you got to really be careful out there with what's going on. I'd say if you have a job, best thing to do right now is don't think about leaving it. Think about improving your position in that company. Try to stay off any write up list. Try to be an outperformer because the small layoffs are ending. The big layoffs are coming. Like I'm not gonna be surprised if I wake up to see some company is laying off 500,000 people, another one's laying off 1 million. Like to me, or not 1 million, but like Walmart laying off 500,000 people because they're keeping the cash, the the self checkouts, despite all the problems with them that they've been having over the years. But it's like you're gonna see like $100,000 layoff or 100,000 people layoffs, people going this. It's like it wouldn't be surprised if I woke up and in one day we had like 10 million people out of a job in like a span of a few days. Like it reminds me of 2008 where you just woke up and you had a job and the next day you were thinking about how am I going to get food on the table because everything stopped. It's like the world just stopped. And right now, it seems it everyone's got the same rhetoric. You got people that forgot, and you got younger people that have no idea what really happened in 2008. And I was around in the 1993 crash, which was really bad.
I wasn't around in the '08 crash.
Yeah, a lot of you guys were kids.
I mean,
I
I was
was
kids. I was a kid, but
in 1993. We had World War. Well, it started in 1992, so we had World War, not World War. I'm sorry, we had the war in the Gulf. We had the Cold War still going on. Um, we had the oil crisis. We had another oil crisis forming because we couldn't get oil out of the Gulf because there was a war. That was the era where, like Trump was like negative, like $2.5 billion in debt. There's just a lot of real estate bust and big companies and small companies, and then it's like everybody forgot and we went right back to what happened, what caused that. And so now we're back again with more inflation, more problems, and it's like, man, and we got a younger generations that are not even having kids. So the future earning potential of the country is getting messed up as well. So it's not looking good right now.
I don't
Just not
blame
looking
young people though. I don't blame them for not wanting kids. I don't
Yeah,
want kids
I don't
anytime
blame him.
soon.
It's hard. You need money to have it, but especially a lot of young ladies out there. Despite what everyone says, I know, Fem says that you can have whatever you want. You don't have to. But trust me, we're all mortal. We don't live forever. Kids, um, what is it? Kids were like kids are your ticket to really immortality. Dude, 1993, you were 9 years old. Yeah, I was like 9, 10 years old. Like I remember my parents. I remember the news because if you guys didn't have it when I was in, because at 10 years old I was in fourth grade, going on to fifth grade, and we had current events, so we would see this stuff on there. Because I remember that was the year we saw the bank robbery, where that was like the last year where cops had like 6 bullet revolvers and they had a shotgun in the back of the truck. Now they
They have
have
blocks.
a lot more, but that's because of that bank robbery. They showed up in there, and I remember seeing like that was crazy. It was also like we had like the year later the collapse of the Soviet Union. I remember the textbooks changed. I remember going to middle school, and we had memorized all the new countries that formed from that. So it was crazy. Yeah, I remember 1993 because I remember pulling up to the gas station, and at my hometown where the gas station was, that was down from the grocery store. There was also in New Jersey, you had unemployment offices, which was a place where they would help you find a job. And every day, the neighbor that was like across from me and my mom's friend would be there. And when they had to babysit me on days off that I didn't have school, and my parents were at work, they had to take me there. And I could tell it was the boringest thing. I was sitting in like it reminded me of it. When I think about it, it reminds me of the DMV. It's like just an open area with a lot of chairs, and I would just sit in the chair doing homework, or because I didn't even have a Game Boy at that time. I didn't get a Game Boy until I was like 12 or 13. Um, so yeah, it was. I remember being bored as hell, but I remember those people standing in line. I remember my dad freaking out about they were freaking out like stuff cost too much then. I can't tell you what the prices were, but I just remember my dad freaking out when we went to went grocery shopping one time, and it was like it seemed like it was a lot higher. But if I remember, it was still like I just remember I had to take stuff I wanted and put it back. Like that's all I can remember from it. But for the most part, I remember my dad was worried. Like he was a teacher at the time, but then he did handyman work on the weekends to help pay off the cars and stuff. I mean, my parents were on the struggle bus. Like they still gave us my brother and I, nice meals and stuff. But I remember always asking my mom, "Why are you eating just beans and rice?" And that's what my parents did. Had to make it through that. And on top of that, they had massive amounts of debt from their college at the time. I think they had quite a bit. I remember it wasn't until I went to college that they had just paid off their master's degree debt, which was crazy. Shout out to DYFR. Speaking of childcare, it's about 12K a year per child right now. Another reason people don't have kids? Oh, absolutely. We commoditized that portion of our lives because usually you either had like cousins or siblings that could take care of your kids, or you had grandparents or neighbors. Like my mom was far. My mom and dad lived too far from our grandparents and their brothers and sisters to take care of us, but they had family and friends, and we went to a different house, like alternating houses, and they would take us to school, all that stuff. So it was different back then because now a lot of young people don't talk to their neighbors like my parents did when they were young. So you don't form those connections and bonds. So now you have to pay somebody to take care of your child. In order for them to take care of the child, they have to be licensed and properly insured. And everybody knows insurance is only going to go up. So especially now with little kids, you got to have good insurance. Otherwise, you might be in debt for the rest of your life. God forbid a child gets hurt on your daycare premises. So you got to keep all that in mind. And then on top of that, nowadays, having a stay-at-home parent, whether it's a man or a woman, is a freaking luxury. I think I calculated you got to be making like $580,000 a year consistently for 30 years to be able to have one parent stay at home and maintain adequate investing and saving for retirement for you guys hitting 60 and up. I'm like that's impossible. Most people are never going to make that much money in their life. Or in a year, let alone a year. Usually that's like a 20-year span. Like you made $500,000 in 20 years. Like to make that 1 year, less than 1% of the population even makes 500,000 a year. So
Yeah.
that's hard. And I get it why, you guys want to wait, but it's like then you got the conundrum with a lot of women. It's like, and all the hormones we pump into the food, women are hitting menopause now earlier because of all the crazy hormones and chemicals and stuff that we're putting to the system. So it's like, well, now, and it's like, and when you miss that window, yeah, you missed it. Like, I mean, there's guys like Mick Jagger out there having kids at 70. Guys, we can have kids whenever the hell we want to. But for women, it's like if you miss your window, you miss your window. I would recommend for any young woman, go to a doctor, get checked up, see what your viability rate on your eggs are. Because if it's great and it's looking like, hey, the doctor says, hey, you're gonna be great for the next 5, 6 years. Really, you can focus on a career, but just remember, focusing on a career, like doing what I'm doing, all this business and stuff, it's fucking stressful. I don't recommend this on anybody. And if I had to start over, I'd go back to a 9 to 5 because this is absolutely a lot of hard work, a lot of stress. I'm tired. My hair's thinning. You guys don't see it, but like right here, I'm getting less and less hair. It's starting to fall out. So I don't recommend this for anybody. I'm tired. It's like and some even me, I'm waking up and I have a lot of money, and I'm waking up saying, I don't want to fucking do this. I don't want to fucking do. I'm just tired. But because I have a lot of people that work for me, I'm going to struggle through it. Like right now, I'm really tired. I'm barely able to keep my eyes open, but I'm going to struggle through this and make this work. Um, we changed. Like I did a whole lot of changing up. We're going in different directions. It's crazy, and all that worry and care. Like I haven't even slept. Like I sit and stare at my ceiling because I'm worried about what the hell's going to happen. It was a lot easier with 9 to 5. Someone quit. I knew. Oh, I have more money because I have more hours now. Or yay, I'm going to get more money because you're not selling anymore and I can sell better. But when now so I have two people out on maternity leave, and God bless, I'm able to have we built up the company to where we can afford to pay them an average salary while they're out, taking care of their children, because that's very important. But it's like this is stressful. It's tough. It's rough. I feel like I aged like 2 decades in 5 years running and building this company. There's some fun parts, but there's a lot of stressful parts. Like you guys are coming in right where I'm starting to show the top of the iceberg, where I can start to show some of the fruits of the labor that I did. But let me tell you, like the last 6 years were just rough. Just
I
rough.
bet. I bet they were, especially starting out as a company. I can only imagine, 6
Oh yeah,
years
like, when we
type of
first
breed.
started out, we had nothing. Like no customers, no nothing. We had to grind to get every single client. Now we still have to grind to maintain and build upon what we did, but it's just a worry because no matter what business you have, it's still a worry that you could have nothing the next day. We don't know what's going to happen the next day. And everybody that works for me relies on myself and my brother to make sure that this business is here for the next day.
See, everything in life is speculative. People say crypto is speculative, but everything in life is speculative.
I will say this, guys: you are better off investing in crypto than starting your own business. There's less volatility because it's like you're almost guaranteed to lose everything with starting a business. You might not, because I can tell you right now, my credit score got shot to hell in the first 4 years. I didn't have any money for myself. I was at like 390 when Cody was working for me, and I dropped down to 290 just because I wasn't eating, because I didn't have any money to freaking eat. And then when things were starting to get a little good, I was still maintaining the same eating level, was sporadically getting food and putting that money into investments again. And luckily that paid off very well for me, because it could not have paid off very well, and I could have been screwed up the ass for that. Shout out to Crypto Dream. Yeah, marriage can be speculative too, because who you guys are when you get married is not going to be the same two people in 40 years, and people's lives change. What people once changed. I think a lot of the speculation in marriage is people, like, women marry men expecting to change them, men marry women expecting them not to change. And if you can communicate that, hey, both of you idiots are going to change, like what you find as a hobby right now is going to change. I used to love playing video games when I was Cody's age. I'm now 40 and I only play a couple video games with my brother, and I'm pretty horrible at them. I'm turning into my dad, where I don't know anything about video games. But it's the same thing. My parents had the same thing in the marriage. their views on what a successful marriage has changed, but also what their views and opinion of love. If you ask my mom at 21 when she got married to my dad what she what she determined love is going to be different than what she says love is right now at 62. It's vastly different. Vastly different. And my parents have been married for 40 years. Or sorry, 42 years. I'm sorry, 41 years. 42 years this year. Um, it's vastly different. Vastly different. There's just you're going to change, and I think a lot of younger people expect things to be the same all the time, every day, every year, and like that's not going to happen. When you guys have kids, your views of each other are going to change. Your priorities are going to change. Just it's just like a lot of people, like I used to always say, because I never really had dogs and pets when I was growing up. I used to always say it's a dog, it's an animal. You know, it just if you have to let it go, let the sucker go. But now that I have dogs, I now see why you people don't give up their dogs. I can't do that to my to Max. It'd be a horrible thing to throw him out there, put him in or give him to an adoption center. That would be traumatizing. And you understand, like they do have a certain level of awareness that they understand that they're being left behind, and that's devastating to any dog that's mentality is based on a pack. So it's like, you're going to change. Your views are going to change. My views at 20 are vastly different than they are now. So you can't expect them. But I think if people can be more honest with their intentions in marriage, I think marriage would be less speculative and more beneficial. Because if you can have a marriage like my parents, man, you'd be successful.
See,
You
I'm glad you're having this talk because this is good to listen to. You know.
Oh, absolutely. And not to say that every marriage is guaranteed to work out. I mean, you can't force somebody to make it work out. Even in a relationship or a marriage, you just can't do it. Um, I don't want to. I can't really speak on Cody's parent situation, but they've been married a decent amount of time, and they're kind of, I wouldn't say vastly opposite, but it seems like from what Cody described, it doesn't seem like they've had an ability to sit down with each other and have an honest talk. So, like my dad sat my mom down and said, "Hey, what the hell do you expect out of this situation, out of marriage? What do you want me to do? Here's what I want you to do. What do you want me to do? And I'm going to do it." But the thing is, you guys, when you sit there and you have those conversations with another person, whether you're a man or a woman, whatever you say, you have to live up to that expectation that you set for yourself. Don't say that I'm going to also work and make these arrangements and payments, and then 10 years down the line, you're like, F this shit. I'm quitting my job. Like you have to have a complete communication with your partner. Shout out to Crypto Dream. I told my dad I'd never get a divorce, and he said you won't have to. They divorce you. Well, that's true too. I don't like a divorce. I don't like divorce, but I can tell you this, guys. Divorce really happens when financially shit hits the fan. I've seen the worst divorces with money involved, and I've seen guys have mistresses and marriages stayed for decades. They just didn't care. I can tell you right now, if a woman really cares about a guy, they really, from my experience, they really don't care. Make sure your wife likes the same NFT projects as you. Yeah, so you both can lose money together, right? A lot of them are pretty worthless. But but no, it's right because like she could just say, "Hey, I haven't been happy," but it's like the problem is that the reason why people say they divorce you is because women don't voice their I'd say what's the right word I'm looking for? Discretion. They don't voice their discretions in a marriage. Like they don't voice it. Like they're just like yeah, yeah, yeah. Because trust me, a lot of women do fear being alone. Even if they're making the decision to divorce late in life, they'll tell every other woman that was the worst decision in my life because I never found anybody. And some other women will say, I got married again. But the problem is that they're not Like for women who keep saying they want emotionally intelligent men, most women are not emotionally intelligent. I can tell you that as someone who manages people for last couple decades. Women don't communicate shit, especially when there's a problem. When there's a problem, they don't confront it. They run from the confrontation. So like when I was in furniture sales, I had this one woman who was decent at sales, but when there was a problem, like the order didn't come on the truck in time, like she told the customer, she would just ignore them, like not do anything. Instead of just saying, calling the customer saying, "Hey, we expected it in. It's going to be another week. I do apologize. What can we do? I most times most people will wait as long as you're honest and communicative with them throughout the process, but she just would blow them off. And I noticed like that with a lot of in my friends and some of my people I network their marriages. I'm starting to see like women just like they sweep the problem under the rug. And if there's any women watching, which there's only like 10% of our audience is women, so and we get an average of about 3,000 views per month. So I'm gonna tell you this to the ladies: like, if something irritates you, just fucking say it. Like, don't sweep it under the rug. Just fucking say it. But also, a lot of guys, if you're in a marriage and you think your wife spent too much money, fucking say it and say, "Look, this is what's going to happen. You're going to return that. We're not spending this money." Or if it's like a car, then she's going to have to get up and pay for that car. It's getting repossessed. Like, we're not wasting any more money than what we planned on. So, like, sometimes you got to be firm. Luckily for me growing up, both my parents were pretty much on the same page with finances, so they didn't really argue too much about it. Um, they just sacrificed a lot of time to make sure we were able to do the things we wanted to do when we were kids. But it turned out better because by the time I was 18, you know, their careers are at all time highs. They had 3 cars. They paid off their house. Life was good. So if you can communicate well, like my parents did, you'll have a great outcome. But unfortunately, that's part of the many reasons why people don't want to confront somebody because they fear that they're going to piss them off. Look, I've been in business for long enough now, and I've been in managing people for a long time. It's better just rip the band-aid off and start the process of real confronting the problem and fixing the situation rather than just putting a band-aid over and just shrugging your shoulders and say, okay, well, maybe it won't happen again. Like, no, we got to fix this shit. That's all I gotta say about that because everything's speculative. Even a business, like Cody said, like running a business is the most speculative thing that you can do, and you're not as free as you think you are. Because I'm tied to my businesses like 24/7. Like even when I'm at home eating dinner, which I'm about to go do, I'm still going to be thinking about my businesses. Even when I lie down and stare at the ceiling, I'm still going to think about my businesses. I'm thinking about how much my payroll is. How much can I make sure I have double that by the time payroll comes around and cash coming in? Can we get more jobs? Right now, this is the first time in a long time where we haven't had jobs out for 2 months. Like I only have jobs up to February. I'm like, I'm panicking. Like I'm like, this never happened before. Like we haven't had this in like 4 years. Like what's going on? We always work so hard. Now that forced me, like I'm doubling down. I'm being more organic. I cut a lot of my outdoor spending to businesses for services. I just cut it all. If I could do it myself, I'll do it. If I can learn it, I'll learn it and do it myself. Like marketing, we just start doing all that shit ourselves. We just start reading, learning, and implementing it, and we'll get better and better and better. So I'm not trying. I'm trying to be innovative and trying to be one step ahead of where my competition is, and that's draining. You don't want to be in that situation. The best thing I could say though is find a good employer, work for them, give them a good 10 years and save as much money as you can, invest in what you can, especially if you're working at a place that has a pension. If it has a pension, work till you earn that pension, and then you could figure out something else to do. Or you might be in a position where you could say, hey, I could relax for a couple of years, let my body rest. Because that's one thing I noticed from my dad. My dad did not let his body rest. And now he's 75 and he's in pain. And I'm learning that. with my dad. So it's like I may in a year or two might just sell all my businesses, just say I'm done. I'm a single guy. I don't have anything to worry about. No kids. No, I'm not married. So I might just cash out and just say I'm out. Just focus talking to you guys on YouTube for fun. I I really don't know what I will admit I am getting pretty exhausted with this, but I keep forging forward because I do want to win.
That's the position I want to be at one day. I just want to be able to like eventually do my own thing, but I gotta grind my ass off and work. 'Cause I do want to work, but it's like it's never enough for me. Like even when I cash out in the bull run, if we ever get a bull run, and I cash out, I'm gonna have to figure out what the hell I'm gonna do with all this money to keep pushing me forward. You know.
Yeah. And you really want to be in Cody's position and not in the position of where you hit my age and you're like, oh man, I got to start retiring. What am I going to do? Like right now, I have enough money that I could not work for the rest of my life. But I keep going because I built this business and all these other businesses, and I want to see them succeed. I want other people working for me to share in those successes that we are building towards, even though right now it doesn't seem like they're coming, but they're coming. And I know that they're coming because we're just going to keep pushing forward. But with that said, I guess I don't have anything more to talk about. I had a nice 20-minute rant there
No,
for
I
you.
was listening to it all.
So, well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you can hit that subscribe button, like button, share the stream, and if you guys want to the stream, rewatch the stream, you can go back on YouTube and on Rumble too, because we're on Rumble. And we don't delete any of our streams; they're all on there. They're all on there for you guys to go back and look and rewatch as much as you want. You can see how many times we were wrong and how many times we were right. But like Cody said, everything is really speculative. We just do our best with the information we have. Shout out to DYOFR. Your net worth, you could buy an apartment in Thailand and be done with it. Yeah, I had a couple guys in my network that sold their businesses recently and went off to Thailand or Singapore, and I mean, I guess I'm for one, I don't want to go to another country. I can live here pretty successfully and peacefully. I mean, right now I have enough cash to buy an apartment in New York City and live there if I wanted to, and I could live there for the rest of my life pretty peacefully. But I'm more like probably going to buy a house like up in Montana, buy a nice cabin, live out there in the boonies, and live a comfortable life there because I like the cold a little bit. Um, but yeah, you make sure if that's your plan though, if you want to like kind of retire to another country, just make sure you plan everything right, and you make sure you're going to a country that's stable. Don't go to a country that's on the verge of changing. So I'd just be wary of that. But I have nothing else to say. I don't know, Cody. Do you have any final thoughts on everything? It's definitely a good live that we had, and really
All I'm
appreciate
doing for
you
the
guys, man.
next year is just, working hard at my job and just DCAing into crypto. That's all I'm really focused on for the next year. So that's all I can really say. I mean, I'm just building up my net worth. Crypto is very speculative, just like anything else in life. Like, life is speculative, but I'll just keep it going.
Absolutely. And just remember, guys, fast money comes with slow problems. Slow money comes with slow happiness. So just remember that, because the longer and harder it takes to earn your money, the better off you'll be. The more happier you'll be. The faster you earn it, the longer those problems are going to come from it. With that said, though, guys, I'm going to check out. I got to go home, eat some dinner, get packed for my trip to Florida. I will see you guys probably Friday for our next live. Don't know. Maybe we'll do a next live on Sunday with what's in your portfolio, and I think I'm only going to do those once a month, probably at the beginning of the month too, just so because it's very hard for me to keep up with my format for tracking my month to month gains and week to week gains and stuff. So on my total assets. So I think I'll just do it once a month for you guys. I think it's more than enough, and then we'll do these lives once every Wednesday at 7 o'clock. and we'll do what's in your portfolio once a month, and then we're gonna have Money Mondays once a week. So for you guys. But with that said, we're gonna check out shout Crypto Dream, which by the way, guys, give him a subscribe and follow. Subscribe to him on YouTube. Follow him on TikTok. Cody, shout out to Crypto Dream. Cody, I read the book, The Greatest Salesman, and the character said one of the treasures he received was to burn the candle at both ends and master the craft when you're young. You're doing great. Absolutely. A lot of young guys, if you're in the same position as Cody, you are doing great. You're better than 99% of the people out there, because most of them, they're not even focused on money. They're too focused on making it just what fun activity they're going to do the next day or who they're fornicating. You know, if you're focused on your money, like I said, you'll sacrifice now for a bigger reward when you're 30. And you're 30, you know, you can do the things you want. You have the money you want. You have the net worth that these guys can only dream of. No. So my advice is do exactly what Cody's doing. Get a job, grind it out, invest as much as you can. And Cody's only 23. By the time he's 25, he's already on pace to possibly being a millionaire by 25. So just keep that in mind, guys. But with that said, guys, thank you guys. I'm going to check you guys later. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe out there. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time.